The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever, forever, forever. Psalm 23. On October 25th, 40-year-old Army reservist Robert Card allegedly opened fire in a bowling alley and then at a bar in Lewiston, Maine, killing 18 people and injuring 13.
From Lewiston, Maine, the scene of a horrific mass shooting here. At least 18 dead and at least 13 injured, several of them critically. And tonight, as we come on the air here, there is an urgent manhunt for the suspected gunman. Authorities say a U.S. Army reservist. The shootings at two different locations, one of them at a bowling alley right here behind us. Families, children playing in a youth bowling league. 12 minutes later, at a second location, a bar and grill here. The horror beginning just before 7 p.m. last night, the calls to 911 reporting an active shooter at the bowling alley here, that youth bowling league well underway. People seen running for their lives in the dark. A short time later, those calls of a second shooting at a restaurant nearby. Multiple law enforcement agencies and emergency medical personnel immediately dispatched to both scenes. Police warning the public to be on alert. Tonight, the suspect, Robert Card, facing multiple counts of murder. An Army reservist who we have learned went to a mental health facility for 2 weeks just this past July.
When we take a deeper look at this event, it becomes obvious that this was another satanic ritual meant to exalt the devil and his Antichrist. So without further ado, let's get into it. 18 people were killed in this event. The number 18 gives us the number 666, the number of the beast. There were also 13 wounded, which gives us the number of rebellion and points to the rebellious false messiah and beast that rises from the sea, as found in Revelation 13. Let me start off by saying I find it quite peculiar that Robert Card went on his killing rampage with his AR-15 type semi-automatic rifle only 3 days before the state of Maine's deer hunting season opened on October 28th. It is important to note that Maine is a gun-friendly state. Open and concealed carry are legal in Maine without a permit. You do not need a license to own a handgun in Maine. There are no purchase permits, handgun registration, or waiting periods for handguns in the state. What's really interesting though is the fact that although Maine has one of the highest levels of gun ownership in the country, it also has one of the lowest levels of gun violence in the country, which proves that gun ownership by law-abiding citizens is not the problem or cause of mass shootings. Despite this fact, calls for gun control closely followed this mass shooting, just as they always do.
Folks who are pushing for tougher gun laws, though, will tell you that the time for thoughts and prayers has long since passed. In Maine, though, efforts to tighten state laws have repeatedly been defeated. The Associated Press reports that proposals that require background checks for private gun sales and create a 72-hour waiting period for gun purchases failed earlier this year. Proposals that focused on school security and banning bump stocks failed in 2019. State residents have also voted down some attempts to tighten gun laws in Maine. And it goes on, and it goes on.
In fact, the demonization of guns and gun owners continues to be the narrative pushed in the media. Recently, I read a very disturbing, erroneous, and ill-conceived article from Time magazine titled, "How Magical Thinking Gave Guns Their Power." In this misinformed piece of literary tripe, the author had the audacity to say that gun owners believe that guns are in fact the best defense against malevolent supernatural forces, the genuine monsters that walk among us, evil people possessed by voices and driven by demons. The author further misrepresents the findings of a 2021 study by a group of sociologists that found a correlation between Americans who believe that there is a devil, Satan, hell, and the earthly presence of demons, and support for policies that expand gun rights. This insinuates that both religious belief in the existence of the supernatural world and belief in the right to keep and bear arms are illogical, irrational, absurd, and unfounded. This assertion by the author also erroneously suggests that those who believe that the devil and the earthly presence of demons exists in reality also believe that guns are an effective means of defending themselves from or eradicating these monsters that walk among us. He states, to kill fantastical creatures, you need fantastical weapons. However, the reality is, nothing could be further from the truth. If this author had even an inkling of what believers actually believe, he would know that true believers do not use carnal weapons for warfare in the spirit. 2 Corinthians 10:3-6 declares, "For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ, and having in a readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled." In making these assertions, they are actually setting the stage for the Antichrist to receive the deadly head wound, which most likely will be blamed on a gun owner who believes that the devil and his demonic fallen angels, who are genuine supernatural monsters, walk among us. The fight over guns in this country and around the world is both a political and spiritual issue, as the confiscation of guns from the masses is the precursor to the institution of the authoritarian, tyrannical, cruel, and oppressive New World Order, or One World Beast system of Antichrist.
We also had gun control. The government said that children were playing with guns, and we had hunting accidents, people accidentally shooting each other, and we had criminals again. murderers. Keep your guns and buy more guns. Dictatorship did not happen overnight. It took 5 years, from 1938 until 1943, we had a full-blown dictatorship. Had we kept our guns, we would have fought a bloody battle to the last man and women to keep our freedom.
Moreover, the connection of this mass shooting to deer hunting and the subsequent manhunt for the suspect that ensued
right now, a manhunt is underway.
Was orchestrated purposefully, as it contains hidden symbolism which serves to identify the false Messiah. The deer points to the stag god Cernunnos. We know that Cernunnos is a reference to Cern, which uses the number of the beast, 666, in its logo. Previously, we discussed the work being performed at CERN in an attempt to open a portal, door, or gateway to hell, and the rise of the king of the bottomless pit. Remember,